second graders. This is Miss Kim. I am here to teach you a little bit about art. And I am hoping that you will enjoy this class as much as I enjoy teaching it. So I would like to tell you a little bit more about myself before we begin. I am Miss Kim, but I am also an artist. And as an artist, my career is really fascinating. I can teach art, and I also paint, draw, and I do printmaking. And I love art because it is very explorative, and you actually get to go into nature, and you get to paint and draw and actually show people and all around you how you're feeling that day. And art has just been really wonderful for me. And I actually started drawing when I was about 5 years old. So I know that you're second graders, and I know that you already know some of the things that I will be going over. But for those of you who are not familiar with art, I hope that you enjoy learning all of these important things that will help you, whether you're going to grow up to be an artist or if you want to become anything else. Art is something that you can use in just about every single job out there. And I just hope that you enjoy today's class. So I'm going to now take you into my art class, and I will be discussing the project that you will be working on today. So thank you. Hello, second graders. My name's Miss Kim. Today we are going to be performing some artwork today that will be about the hands. This is going to be a really cool project, and I hope you enjoy it. And I would like to first tell you a little bit about the supplies you're going to need for today's art project. You're going to need markers and a blank sheet of paper. Your blank sheet of paper can be a large sheet of paper, it could be a poster, it could be a smaller sheet of paper, it can even be a canvas like what we have back here. It can be anything that just has a white surface or just a blank surface, and that is how we are going to begin our project today. So, today's project, we are going to be creating hands that overlap, and they are going to be creating shapes. It's important for us to talk about shapes and primary colors and secondary colors, but the first word that we want to begin with is the word line. The line is really important. So, we're going to begin with just taking any one of your markers. Take the lid off and make sure you keep the lid on the marker so that we can find it later to close it. So it could be any marker, but what I'd like for everyone to do is to put your hand, spread your fingers out as wide as you can, and put them any place on your paper. I'm using the larger piece of paper because my hand is an adult hand, so it's a little bit larger than yours. So I'm just using this, but whatever paper you have, that will work fine. And what I'm going to suggest is to outline. Also understand, outline. We're going to create a line. Outline your hand. So we are going to begin at the wrist, begin going in and out of every finger. And we don't have to do it perfect. Some fingers can be a little bit off, but we want to include our thumb. The thumb is pretty important. So we bring that down. Now what I want to show you is what you have created is not the outline of a hand as much as you took a line. A line is defined by having a beginning and an end. This is called a line drawing. So lines are important. The way we change this line into a shape is we close it off. So now I no longer have a line. I don't have a beginning, I don't have an end. Now I have a shape. This is in the shape of a hand. So I can either take another marker, which I like to do because I like to make a lot of colors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to again put my hand, and this time I'm going to overlap it. Overlap means that it is going to go into my other drawing. And I'm going to spread the fingers and begin with a line, and I'm going to just go over this and I outline the hand, and then I turn it into a shape by closing it off. Notice the hand is overlapping. Now, I'm going to use the same marker actually, and I am going to probably bring a hand down into the middle. We're going to make a total of 5 different handprints. I'm going to go here, here, and again, some of my fingers are getting a little shaky and they're not perfect, but nothing is. We are all human beings and we just make art. And art is really, really fun, and that's the main part that you want to remember. Now I'm actually going to change the color. I'm going to actually change it to pink. It could be brown, it could be black, it could be, all of them could be the same color. It really won't matter. So now I'm going to put my 4th handprint here. And again, I am going to be going over every finger, around the thumb. I'm going to close off my line and create a shape. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. One more handprint is all it takes. And I'm going to use orange. Orange is fun. Orange, and I'm just going to overlap here. I'm going to put it over here so that I've got some space in this area that is covered. I just want my whole page to be covered with hands. And I'm creating my line, and you remember what we're doing. Yes, we are creating a shape. We took that line and became a shape. Also, notice what I've done. I would like for every one of you to be aware of it. I always put my marker lid back on when I am done with it. So now we have this great design, and there's a whole bunch of shapes in there. There's like so many shapes. But before we start coloring, before we even think about coloring, I want to go over primary and secondary colors with you. Now that's going to be important because, as you might be aware, primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. You do not have to do this. So this is just to demonstrate how secondary colors come to being. So we have red, blue, and yellow. So here comes the big question. If I take blue and I put it over here, and then I of course have to rinse my brush so that I don't mix my paints, and I take yellow and I mix it in with the blue, what color are you seeing? If you're guessing green, you are right. Blue and yellow mixed together makes green. Green is a secondary color because it takes 2 primary colors to make green, blue and yellow. So now I'm going to take red, and I'm going to, again, I'm going to be a little bit of a neat artist here. I'm going to take yellow and mix it in with red, and I'm actually going to take a little bit more so it gets a little bit brighter. Are you seeing orange? Yes, that is a very bright orange, and if I'm going to mix it even further, it becomes really, really bright orange. More yellow makes brighter orange. So we have one more secondary color. Anybody want to guess what red and blue makes? If you're guessing purple, I think you're right. So I'm going to take these 2 colors, and I have just created purple. So secondary colors are green, orange, and purple. And actually, if I want that purple to have a little bit more of a bluish hue, now it's a little bit more of a violet color. Isn't that cool? So now you understand about primary and secondary colors. So, but primary colors are red, yellow, and blue, and secondary colors. You mix any two of those primary colors together and you get secondary colors. Here, we have these wonderful handprints, but I want you to be aware of these shapes. Look here closely. Here is a shape. How do we know it's a shape? Because we know that this space is closed in. It doesn't have a beginning and doesn't have an end. So I'm just going to paint or color with my marker just that one shape. That is one shape. Now I'm going to take you over here where some shapes get close together. Right here are two little shapes. I'm going to do this shape in pink and watch what happens when I take yellow and I come over to the other shape and I make that yellow. And, oh, wait a minute. Do you see the other shape too? Do you see the other shape? Right here. Here's a shape. I'm going to outline it and I'm going to make that blue. Isn't that pretty? It's looking really good. Matter of fact, while I have the blue, I might want to come over here, and I think I'm going to cover in some more of my shapes. I'm looking at the shapes, and now I'm not really looking at the hands at all. Now I'm just coloring in shapes. So I think we need some brighter colors here. How about if I make this little shape? You see that tiny shape? I love those shapes. I also see this shape. And I'm going to make that one that color. Oh, and I see a shape here. And I bet you're finding all kinds of shapes while you're looking at your own artwork. Are you finding lots of different shapes? What I don't want to do is I don't want to put the same color near another color. But let's go ahead and fill in other colors like that one. And you are going to have some fun right now because you are just going to be able to explore and find the shapes. This is really cool because this is all part of art, is finding shapes within places. I think I'm going to just color that one. And I'm just going to keep coloring every time I see a shape that has a closing and it doesn't connect with anything else. So, is everybody doing well? Are you finding that this is kind of a cool thing? And especially because you are making something that nobody else can make. And do you know why nobody else can make this? Because nobody has your exact handprint. And nobody in your entire class or in your entire school can make your artwork exactly the way you did. Nobody. Which makes you a really unique artist. So, and that is the beauty of art. Art is about creating all special pieces that represent us. I'm going to do one more and then I'm going to let you continue while I tell you a little bit more about art and inspiration for art, because I could do this all day long. I love doing art. And by the way, in case you didn't know, I'm an actual artist. I make a living as an artist, which makes it really fun. And I would like to also show you some of the inspirations. I brought with me today a couple of books. These books are so much fun. This book I bought for my daughter, and this book I bought for my son. And what's really cool about this book is it's called Little Artist, a child's art book. And it is for kids, and what it allows children to do is to create their own art in their own book. Since this was for my daughter, it's really fun because it's when my daughter was, actually it says 3 years old, but she did This Is Me, and she did a drawing of herself. And I think she was actually in 3rd grade, I'm not sure, but because she actually scribbled her name on here, so she might have even gone back into the book and recreated it. But it is really sweet because it shows this is her family, this is her home. And so it's important that when you do art, express yourself. If you have a dog or a cat, or if you have a bird or anything, try to draw it. And it doesn't mean that it has to look exactly like that. And there's an artist named Picasso who actually created faces. And some of the faces, the eyes were really far up, another eye was down here, and the mouth was over here. And it was just wild. And that's a certain art style that artists explore. We all explore different ways of doing art. But ultimately, today you are creating a hand piece of art that is totally unique to you. And also, I wanted to show you this book, Creativity Takes Courage. This is a really great book because today you are being courageous. You are trying something that you haven't done before. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but I'm sure you haven't done it the exact way that I have taught you today. So this unique opportunity is your way to be an artist, and there's no one else like you, and that's the beauty of art. So this is a lot of fun. I would like for you to continue working on your hand and work on all the different shapes. So we can just continue to color in here, and I really would like for all of you, after you are done, if you can start to look at other people's artwork at a distance and see what they have done, and notice there's nobody's work that's just like yours because no one chose the same colors. And after you are done, you can actually color the entire outside, or you can even create patterns outside. You can create things outside of it that again extend about the story of you and how you do art. So I hope you are enjoying today's art project, and I hope that you learned a little bit about colors and about lines. Remember how we began with a line, and the line, the funny part about lines, actually, I would like to talk about lines for just a moment. A line can be a bunch of dots, and that is called a line. You can have a thin line or a straight line. You can also have a thick line. You can also have a curvy line, a zigzag line, or let's see, what other kind of line could you have? You could have a line that we kind of see, a line, even though we really know it's not there, we can see it. And sometimes in art, you'll see something that looks like it's a line, but it's just a bunch of people gathered together, and you'll see them standing in a line. Even though they're separated, you still see the line. So that's pretty cool. So these lines, the main thing is they all have a beginning and they all have an end. And even this has a beginning, has an end. So when you create a shape, once I do this and I close the line up, now what do I have? Now I have a shape. Shape. And then how does that change that? We don't have a beginning, so does that all change? So we need to be able to define the beginning of something and the end. And that is a line. And when it doesn't have a beginning and an end, and it is, whether it's a circle, a triangle, a square, a rectangle, those are all called shapes. So, actually, all of those are called geometric shapes. And shapes and lines all have a purpose. So we begin with lines, we ended with shapes, and then we explored colors. Now that you have created your very own personal handprints, I would like for you to think about how important that is in the art world. And the reason that's so important is very early on, thousands and thousands of years ago, someone, we don't know if it was a man or a woman or a child or a group of people, all decided to make their hands a piece of art. So you have made your artwork, and whether you have made this kind of artwork or primary colors, whatever kind of hand artwork that you make, you are doing something that's been done thousands and thousands of years ago from our original artist. Human beings decided in a cave to put their hands on the walls of a cave, and what they did, as you will see when we look at this closer, they put the hand up on the wall, and whether they had a reed or some kind of a straw-like object, they had a certain formula of spray paint that they made thousands and thousands of years ago, and they blew all the way around their hand, and similar to how you drew the outline of your hand. So, very interesting that you are using a technique that was used thousands of years ago. Oh, hello, second graders. Hi, Miss Kim is closing up our class, and I thought I would bring you to my home studio where I create a lot of my artwork. And as you can see, right now I'm using yellow and blue to create, that's right, green. So I am just mixing these colors together because this is going to be a very large art project that I'm going to be creating, and you will be able to see the progress over the next several weeks, actually next several sessions for you. So I am going to surprise you with the subject, and you'll be able to see how I draw the subject on here. And this that I'm painting right now is called a base. The base is just what I am going to be putting my color palette on. So it's going to have lots of green in it. So it'll be a lot of fun. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining me in today's class. I'm glad you were able to join me in my classroom studio. And I hope to have you in many more classes. And just remember, Kim creates art, and so do you.